Welcome to ASEAN BIZ, your only choice for business updates covering ASEAN countries. We are your hosts, Chia and Eric Chong. And we bring you business news on everything that happens around the world that affects ASEAN countries.
In these brand new editions, we bring you 4 segments: the current business update, our durian main story, funny business moment, and health is wealth. With us in the studio today are 3 guests: Daniel, Siri, and Sally. And they are from a company called the Purple House. And they are all here, all have something in common. They were all auditors before they became entrepreneurs. They will share with us their story on our durian main story shortly. But before that, we will have our current business updates, and Daniel, Siri, and Sally, especially Sally, are welcome to chip in with their take on our hot topics today, that is China's assets bubbles and how it affects ASEAN.
Yes, Moody's is saying that China is having asset bubbles and growth is slowing down. Now, Moody's is a rating agency. Besides Moody's, we have Fitch, we have S&P, Standard & Poor's. What else do we have?
Those are the main ones.
These are the main rating agencies, right? And Moody's is definitely one of the main ones. And Moody's is saying China is having asset bubbles. I don't really trust all these rating agencies.
Moody's is owned by Warren Buffett, right?
Moody's? Partly, yeah.
Okay.
And growth is slowing down. What do you guys think about that? Is China really having asset bubbles? Probably, I believe, only in the big cities like Shanghai or Beijing, right?
Start with our lady friend here first.
Yes, yes. Sally is from China.
Oh yes, but I've been away from China for almost. Well,
where were you born,
years.
Sally?
I was born in Guizhou. It is a province in the south. And I grew up in Guangxi.
Nice scenery.
Yes, it's beautiful there. I would say just now we mentioned last session we actually mentioned about Malaysian facing challenges. I guess China, even though renminbi it is actually coming up, but China has its own challenges.
Right.
I see. Well, people talk about asset bubbles or that. All these definitions. It's very hard to really pinpoint, say, well, whether it will be further
Sometimes
growth.
Sometimes it's quite subjective.
It is quite subjective in my opinion. Well, in my opinion, very subjective.
Yes, I think so too.
Well, I think China is facing challenges in terms of restructuring. Because previously, China, we had the government, the leaders of the country, figure out, okay, what we are good at, what we are heading, and how we can get there. The strategies work quite well in last 1 or 2 decades. Now China, goods or everything is made in China.
Yeah, we can still recall
good.
China has GDP growth of double digit for many years.
Well, we don't know whether that is subjective, but
right.
Huge growth.
But right now it's definitely not easy
down.
To have double digit. Quite impossible,
It
right?
is quite impossible. The base is quite big, and also the structure need to be changed. You in China now, labor it is no longer cheap.
Yes. Like most economies, it started off cheap, and after some time, it cannot be cheap anymore.
We can actually see that quite a number of manufacturers are moving out of China.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that actually goes to countries like South America.
Even ASEAN countries.
Vietnam, Cambodia, India,
Laos,
Vietnam, Cambodia.
Yeah.
Yes.
And because of those changes, China is also facing challenges to think and change its strategies and restructure the economy.
Yeah. Right.
And then when you look at China, the property prices have actually appreciated rapidly. So that will actually cause very detrimental factors to the domestic China.
I totally agree.
Yes. And they found that the local Chinese are unable to afford their homes already.
is getting bad. Probably affected by places like Hong Kong or Shenzhen, where the prices are really super high.
Whether Moody's rating takes into considerations of this so-called property bubble burst? Well, maybe Daniel have something to say about that.
Well, I have not really much to say about this, but it was just when I made a visit to China earlier, and I've seen the effect of the growth in the property sector. The surprising thing is, you visit an area where there's lots of new condos being built, and the majority of them are actually empty. So I guess these are all just
many
speculations.
Speculations.
Massive speculation.
And actually, it's happening over in Malaysia. We can see a lot of offices coming up, but you don't see them to be occupied.
That's correct.
They can keep for years and it's still vacant. So this is actually a very so-called detrimental scenarios to the general economics, where there will be an oversupply. And if you look at it, a lot of so-called property owners trying to fetch a very high rental for their properties. But you look clearly, how many businesses can actually make that much of money to pay for the high rental?
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
And sometimes you even make a joke, the only thing you can make that much of money is vices.
That's true.
The numbers don't add up.
Yeah, I mean the property
cannot
price
count properly.
the property price to income ratio is just not. It's not
not
there.
satisfied. It
Yeah,
boils
doesn't
down
make
to
sense.
the greed of some of the so-called new investors who felt that when by going into properties they want to recover their capital within 2-3 years.
Yeah.
But that is the herd mentality, though.
Yes. And I always make a joke about human beings. Human beings are herding animals.
Yeah, just follow.
Herding animals, and we are living in a so-called lemming cultures.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you are old enough, you will know the games, the lemmings.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, we know the game.
Now, Moody's is saying that besides China, Indonesia is also facing a big banking system and economic challenge in Asia, especially in the coming 12 months.
Right.
Why did they drag Indonesia into the comment together?
Maybe Siri have a few words on that one.
Well, I can't really comment much about Indonesia because we don't really have much understanding about the economy. But I must say this, I was in Indonesia recently. In fact, not too long. I was there about a week ago for my honeymoon. And it was my first visit to
was
Indonesia.
Was it in Bali?
No, it was actually off Bali. It's in a place called Lombok.
Lombok.
Yeah.
Very beautiful place.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. It's a very touristy town. And from my observation, I mean, from the way I see things, I see Indonesia as definitely as a growing country. If you really look at its people, all right, just in terms of population size,
right?
You definitely have that mass in terms of number of people.
They are about 200 million.
They're about 250.
Wow, even more than that.
Yeah. So and it's all not that bad. I mean, infrastructure is relatively good. I mean, I was in a place in a town, off Lombok, which is actually a small part of Indonesia. It's not even a true representative of Indonesia.
Yeah. Probably outskirts.
So, and from what I've understood, that places like Jakarta, Surabaya, and all the other places have well received good development. So, I mean, I don't know whether this crisis is a midterm crisis for Indonesia that it may crawl out of.
With the new president, right?
Yeah. So the tempo there is just good, relatively good.
And with a population of 250 million, I believe they are the biggest country in ASEAN, right?
Yes, right. They are. In terms of population, they are.
And not counting foreigners.
Yeah.
In fact, now there's a lot of foreigners are going to Surabaya.
Yes.
To set up their factories, to set up their businesses.
The FDI has definitely been improved has improved in that
I think the
sector.
new president is doing quite well, but the recent reports say that he could have done better.
Yeah, it's always the situation. Once you do something well, they always says that you can do better.
Yeah. So we'll just have to wait and see what Indonesia.
And talking about ASEAN, according to Moody's, Malaysia and Indonesia are the two ASEAN countries that are most at risk due to China's asset bubbles and economic slowdown. Now Malaysia also comes into the picture. We will be affected by China's asset bubbles, they say.
Okay, looking at this, I think why they talk about Malaysia. Firstly, I would say that Malaysia can be a very conducive country to do business. Firstly, because of the language, right, and so the infrastructures, the transportation infrastructures here is also, I would say, pretty good. Right. So it will make a good choice for to base Malaysia as one of the countries that a lot of foreigners will come. And lately we have seen quite a number of China contractors are coming over to Malaysia, and those very big one actually finance the project themselves. Right?
Like Country Garden.
Yes, the main one, Country Garden.
And even our main telecommunication structures are partly financed by the China group called Huawei.
Yes.
Right.
Huawei actually have been in this country for a while.
Yeah,
for a
quite
long
some time already.
Yes.
And they invested a lot, and in fact I think they have quite a big portion of the employees, percentage of the employees are local. So they are helping Malaysia to develop the IT industry.
Right. They're actually affecting our economy.
Yes. Looking at this whole situations, like so much of foreign investors, especially from China, that coming in, should the China assets bubble burst in their home country, it might affect the resources that they are able to put into other countries. So that's why Moody's plays Malaysia and Indonesia into the so-called ratings that will be affected. Because based on latest development, like Australia is actually hurt badly because of the non-development of China, the drop in demand for raw materials from Australia. So
whatever happens in China, Australia is the one that's affected.
For many years, Australian government actually packs their economics with China. When China grows, they grow.
Yeah.
So the last 3 years ago, you can see that the Aussie currency shoots up very high.
Yeah.
It even surpasses US dollars. And now today you can see that their US dollar is actually against US dollars is 1 Aussie dollar to 73 cents.
Yeah.
That was the latest. Right? So you can see that China is actually affecting a lot of countries, not only ASEAN.
Right. We'll take a short break now, and we'll be back with our main story for today. Stay tuned, guys. Don't go away. Welcome back. You're listening to ASEAN BIZ, and our Durian main story today is Entrepreneurship, from Rat Race to Freedom, Part 2, Taking on Wings. But before we bring you our main story, Eric is going to share with us his funny business moment, and the title of his story now is The Dying Businessman.
Okay, the story goes like this. A businessman on his deathbed called his friends and said, "Bill, I want you to promise me that when I die, you will have my remains cremated." "And what?" his friend asked. "Do you want me to do with your ashes?" The businessman said, "Just put them in an envelope and mail them to the Inland Revenue Services and write on the envelope, 'Now you have everything.'" So, which means to say, businessmen, whatever you work hard for, it belongs to the
Inland
IRS.
Revenue. Right. Thank you, Eric, for that funny business moment. Welcome back to the show. You're listening to ASEAN BIZ, your only choice for business updates covering ASEAN countries. I'm your host, Chia, and together with me is
Eric Chong.
and we bring you business news on everything that happens around the world that involves ASEAN countries. We would like to welcome again our guests for today, Daniel, Sri and Sally from the Purple House, who will be with
Hello,
us
everyone.
on our Durian Main Show today.
The title of our Durian Main Show today is Entrepreneurship from Rat Race to Freedom, Part 2. In the first part of our story, we heard how Daniel, Siri and Sally started off as professional accountants and auditors working for the Big Four companies. We also learned how and why they choose to take the entrepreneur path, as well as the preparations they made before taking their bold steps. In the concluding part of our story today, we shall see how they went about launching their entrepreneurship ventures, as well as the interesting parts of their journey.
Yes, Daniel, Sri and Sally, I would like to ask the question, how long did you take?
Okay, how long did we actually take to start our business? I would say it's about a year. This is actually after I was working for about 6 or 7 years, and then all the time I thought that the only way to succeed in life was to succeed in my career as an employee. And one fine day, the concept that you could actually do something different to achieve what you want in life popped into my head. And from then on, the preparation started on, what can I actually do, and what can I learn more, and what can we see. And I would say that within a year, I started, as I mentioned earlier in the first segment, I started picking up books, talking to people who are like-minded, and actually finding out what sort of things that we could do. And
so during that year, Daniel, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Did you take a break from your work, or were you still working under employment?
Well, I was leading a double life. Like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. By day, I was an employee working for the company, and in my spare time and on the weekends especially,
getting ready.
Getting ready, learning more, building myself up, and building our team up. We spent many weekends, meeting over breakfast on Saturdays, discussing what we have learned, what we have read, what can we do for our future. And it was really exciting because
sounds very exciting.
Yeah. But I must say that learning is actually a lifelong process, and in terms of getting the ingredients ready, I am in fact still acquiring ingredients as I go along. And the more ingredients I have, the better entrepreneur I'll be.
That's a great way to go about.
Okay.
Right.
Sri?
Siri?
Thanks, Andrew. Well, I can't really tell you exactly when I was ready.
You were ready when you were ready.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I guess sometimes in life you're never really fully ready. You just jump in and
when the time for you to take the jump, you just jump whether you're ready or not.
Exactly. And then you just jump and you get wings along the way. I guess probably I would say the day that I handed the resignation, that was sort of my start.
That was the time when you were ready.
Entrepreneurship, yep, probably. But I guess it's more of the journey than anything else. It's that learning curve that you go through. It's something that something.
Is it like what Daniel is saying? He's still getting ready right now.
Yeah, it's true. I'm still learning. Frankly speaking, if you ask me, I guess there's a lot more to learn, and I think just as much as life, it's never a straight line. There's a lot of ups and downs, and that's how the famous saying goes. What doesn't break you makes you.
Right.
So yeah. So I guess.
So Siri.
Yeah.
On the day you handed in your resignation letter,
yes.
What's your feeling?
I guess, to be honest, it was bittersweet. To be honest, it was bittersweet.
Mixed feelings.
Mixed feelings. I was feeling excited on one end, and I was feeling a little sad on one end. I was I was also
Missing your friends or the paycheck?
More of the paycheck.
More about people, I guess.
But I guess, yeah, it's more of the people. And a bit fearful, but at the same time, courageous at the same time. So it's all a cocktail of emotions just going through my mind. So, but it was an experience nonetheless. Yeah.
Yes. And,
what an experience.
And actually, there's a lot of people who wanted to become an entrepreneurs.
Yes.
When they wanted to submit their resignation letter, the first thing is the fear of loss of income.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the greatest fear of a lot of people.
Yep.
And I would say that three of you actually made a very big move to actually forego this.
Really a lot of courage to forego the paycheck.
Thank you, Eric.
And venture into the unknown. Not unknown into the business, unknown into the next paycheck.
Paycheck.
Yeah.
Sally, did you miss your paycheck?
Not really. We're still getting a paycheck from
Bigger
our own
paycheck.
company now. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
For me, I would say it was a little bit easier. Just now you guys mentioned about paycheck. I guess for me, compared to Sri and Daniel, I was the lucky one. Number one, me and Daniel will have some saving already from working in Australia. And the second one is Daniel was still working. He lived a double life so that I can live a full life.
Wow.
So I actually quit not long after I realized that becoming an entrepreneur is a very good option for me. While just now Daniel mentioned that they work Monday to Friday, and every weekend, instead of going out and have fun watching movies, we actually got together a team, either making business plans and discussing and doing research, all that. So we were very busy over the weekend. While we were still working on our plans and working on our strategies, I just could not wait to start on the new journey. I was the first to quit in our team.
I feel very excited the way you describe it.
Yes, for me it was like that. I felt great at that time, and thank you guys.
I just want to add a little bit about the fear of losing the paycheck. I did mention earlier that it was mathematically impossible for me to achieve what I wanted in life, through having a paycheck for the rest of my life.
You did the counting, did you?
Yes, I did. I actually did the math. So, to me, it wasn't such a big loss, in a sense that I knew that if I were to continue on this path, I would not get where I wanted.
It would be a bigger loss.
Then
That's
you
correct.
will not be accountable for your life.
Yeah. So letting go of the paycheck, once you understand this, you have the confidence to let go. So
yes.
it reduces the fear.
Now we perfectly understand the relationship between counting and accounting. Did you guys at any time had doubts about whether you could work together as a team? And what will happen if you actually can't agree on things like business model or business direction?
Okay, it helps tremendously to work with like-minded people. I must say that the three of us are very lucky that we have each other. And the thing is, we actually grew at around the same time when we were still employees, in terms of our mindset and in terms of what we wanted. So we went through the journey together, and it actually makes a lot of, convenience, very easy. I wouldn't say it's a straight line all the way.
It was not a bed of roses,
right?
right?
Yeah, not a bed of roses, definitely not. But it actually makes life easier than just going it on your own. In like all families, of course, we do have our disagreements from time to time, but we mainly work it out through consensus. So
did you use any violence?
Obviously not. No. We won't be here. But I must say that after 6 years together, it's been quite good. We are actually very comfortable working with each other, and I would say that it's actually not only strengthened our friendship, it actually make us understand each other a lot more better. Yeah.
Wow, you guys are very lucky. Me and my partners almost came to blows,
Right, maybe Siri have a few words?
Thanks, Eric. Well, I think I can't agree with Daniel more on that. finding the right business partner is never easy. In fact, it's almost like finding a life partner. You really have to work out all the differences together, and especially if you are with a team where there's the right or strong sense of purpose, and if you have a lot of trust within the team, generally it's just a lot easier to work together. And that's one thing that I've been blessed with my teammates. There's a lot of trust. I think we are like-minded, and definitely whenever there are disagreements, we do not lose focus on the objective. So we can always overcome disagreements very easily. It's because it's not a matter of who's right, who's wrong. It's a matter of what's best. So yeah, in that sense, it's a blessing. So we work very well together. I must say that one thing that I've discovered working together with these guys is that each of us have a unique set of skill sets.
Which can complement
each other.
I mean, definitely, yes.
There are things
that is very important.
There are things that Daniels is good at that I am just hopeless. There are things that Sally can do that I can't even dream of, and there are things that I can pull into the team, and that's where I compensate. So I guess with that mixture, it just makes us a lot stronger. Synergy is what I would like to describe that. Good synergy. So I think it was never an issue working together.
Sally, what's your take on that?
I'm very grateful to have Sri and Daniel as my business partners. Like Sri say, in our team, right, none of us is a Superman. None of us is perfect. None of us knows it all. And the key is we are fully aware of this, all of us. So, and there's a saying, when two partners always agree, one of them is unnecessary.
That's true.
It's true to a certain extent.
So we have different things to contribute, and we have different opinions and views all the time. What we do is we try to be open and listen to understand, and as much as we can, we try to prevent disagreement from turning into an argument. Sometimes we fail, but never mind. We've always managed to reach an agreement and make a team decision on critical matters.
We always come around.
Yes.
Fantastic. You guys, after all that has been said, reminds me of one company that was the biggest company in the world at one time, and it's Apple.
Right.
Apple had 3 partners. Of course, one of them is no longer with us. Steve Jobs takes care of the marketing. You can imagine he's the greatest marketing guy ever. And his mate Steve Wozniak is one of the greatest computer engineers in the world. And the other guy who contributed the money, his name is Mark Makula. So you can see 3 guys working on 3 different aspects of the business, and they complement each other perfectly, and you have the biggest company in the world.
Yes. Well said, Andrew. Well said.
So you guys, from what I've seen, you guys are really gelling quite well together.
So guys, we got to take a short break here. And then we come back with the second part of our story. With the Dan, Siri and Sally to explain about their business and their industries. Stay on.
Welcome back. You're listening to ASEAN BIZ, and our Durian main story today is Entrepreneurship from Rat Race to Freedom Part 2, Taking on Wings. Before the break, we talked about how Daniel, Sri and Sally went about getting ready for their business venture and choosing the industry to venture into. In our concluding segment now, we will hear some final words of advice to listeners who may be entertaining some thoughts of becoming their own boss one day. But before that, let's take a short break to get a health tip from Eric, our health and fitness coach. His health tip for today is fats.
Okay. A lot of people who wanted to stay slim, okay, will always wanted to cut fats. But most of the people misunderstood what fats is all about. So if you are working to get a leaner body, don't actually need to cut out all fats. And not all fats are bad. We have healthy fats like omega-3 fatty acids. And a lack of these nutrients can negatively impact the speed you age. To keep feeling and looking younger, incorporate more oily fish, walnuts and flax seeds in your diet, which also helps the skin stay supple and wrinkle free. Okay, so ladies, don't cut out all the fats.
Flaxseed is good. Fish oil is
Fish
good.
oil, right. Omega-3s also help boost brain health and keep the heart in good shape. This article is according to the Men's Fitness. Right. Many of us are struggling to develop new dietary habits, while others are just hoping to shed that lingering holiday weight. Either way, healthy eating habits means different things to different people, and unfortunately, some guys are of the mistaken belief that one of the best way to maintain a healthy diet is by removing as much fat as possible. The truth is that your body needs fat. It's just a matter of consuming the right kind of fats to help you separate the good from the bad. We have compiled a list of main fats here for the best for you to find out. Number 1 is monounsaturated fats. Okay, if you are looking for ways to keep your cholesterol in check, monounsaturated fats are your ticket. Studies suggest that they have the ability not only to lower your bad cholesterol, that's the LDL, but they have also increased your good cholesterol, that is the HDL levels. The best places to find them is in a wide varieties of oil, as much as in avocados and even poultry. And for all you guys who can't resist a good snacks, you will be thrilled that the excellent source of monounsaturated fats comes from cashew nuts, almonds and hazelnuts. Then the second one is polyunsaturated fats. Okay, polyunsaturated fats, well known for their cholesterol reducing capabilities, can also assist in reducing blood pressures. They are available in supplements form and can be found in various oils including safflower, soy and sunflower.
I like flowers.
And third one is conjugated linoleic acids. Short form we call it CLA, and this actually reduces the body fat, not the weight. And most of the gym people who actually must take more of this kind of fats, and it's in the direct impact of this form is that it helps to reduce the chances of colon cancer. And CLA are mostly found in grass-fed poultry and meats, as well as dairies and eggs. Then the
inclusive Mercedes-Benz, right?
Yes. Then the fourth one, we have the medium chain triglycerides. We call it MCT. It's new research on this one. They are challenging between the olive oils. Most of us will get the MCT from olive oil, and now they're challenging it that the coconut oil will have a higher level of MCTs. So, but despite that, a lot of cheaper coconut oils actually makes you fatter, because a lot of not all producers give you pure coconut oil, so that we have to be careful, right? Unless you can get it from a reliable source that you can get extra virgin coconut oil. That's a good one, right? Then the fifth one is the fish oil. And does heart disease run in your family? If so, you probably already know the importance of controlling your portions, limiting salt intake, consuming fruits, vegetables and fiber. And according to this research, okay, the fish oil actually helps to prevent heart disease, and it's also improve your eyes and mental health. So guys, just keep in mind of these 5 types of fats to stay healthy, and not all fats are bad.
Thanks, Eric, for that health tip. let's continue with our Durian main story. We would like to ask Daniel, Sri and Sally a few more questions about their entrepreneurship journey. Okay, say a few words about the business and the industry that you guys have chosen.
Okay, about 5 years ago, we started a student hostel management business called the Purple House. Essentially, the Purple House aims to provide quality student housing for college and university students. We actually operate in two industries. One is the higher education industry, and the second would be real estate or property. And it's actually quite cool to see how these two industries impact each other. Like, for example, if a university has a huge intake of students, it will definitely impact the real estate around the university. And vice versa, if there is a university which has an oversupply of housing, and we'll see a reverse of the situation. Yeah. So that's my 2 cents.
We have noticed that properties nearby universities or colleges or even schools, they appreciate faster.
They generally tend to do well.
That's right.
Generally speaking.
And in fact, that's patterns actually happens in all the countries around the world.
Yeah.
That's true.
University towns.
Yes, university towns.
They can find more tenants.
And it's quite a lively tenant pool as well, I would say, because they're very young,
Young,
and very
energetic.
sociable. Yes, exactly. Brings a lot of exciting new businesses, like, used to be bubble tea, coffee, burger places.
Good energy around in Swiss world.
And nowadays we can see a lot of enterprising youngsters. They come up with traits that we, during our days, we can't even imagine of.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very creative.
Yeah,
that's
very
right.
creative.
That's right.
And a lot of them actually join hands to start off some food outlets,
Yeah.
some cafes with a different theme to it. Actually, these are very commendable actions for them to go into.
Yeah.
Right, maybe Siri have a few words on that.
All right, thanks, Eric. Well, I think looking at our industry, I would say it's actually a niche industry, mainly because when we came into this field, our main focus was property investment, and the whole student housing was a spin-off from that platform. So one of the reasons why we went in, it's mainly because we knew that student housing in itself is a investment class on its own. Just as how you have commercial properties, you have residential properties, industrial. In today's market, especially in developed nations as the US and the UK, you would see student housing as an asset class on its own. So, looking back at Malaysia, where things are right now, we are, I would say, on the beginning of the growth pattern. So, when we came in probably about 4 or 5 years ago, we realized that this industry had it was viable, one, and it had stable returns, and we realized that there are a lot of growth opportunities.
So basically, you're renting accommodation for students.
That's right. Yeah. So it goes hand in hand. It's certain housing as a business and property investment that's backed up by this business.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So actually, your properties will be paid off by the rentals.
Well, that's the idea.
That's the whole idea, isn't it?
Eventually, the three of you will build up a pool of properties.
Yeah.
Well, we can last you through maybe 3 lifetimes.
Well,
Hopefully
we'll
more
see,
than
that. With the changing demographics, it's hard to say, but at least for the next 5 to 10 years, the outlook is very good.
And with the business you have garnered so far, providing such accommodation,
Yes.
I believe now you are the market leader or one of the market leaders, right, in the industry. And it's really a good market.
All right, thanks, Andrew. I mean, it is a challenging market. There are a lot of competitions around, but we've been doing well so far. Thank you. Yeah.
I would say that it's not just 100% solely focused on the property.
Yeah.
It's we actually deal and work a lot with the universities that are where we are located at, and it's also about managing the reputation of the universities, especially when they put their students with you. You have a responsibility not only to them but also
accountability.
Accountability.
We are good accountants in that sense.
With the universities and their parents, and so it's actually quite a heavy social responsibility as well.
Right. Sally?
Oh, okay. I would like to look at it from a slightly different perspective. I would like to think that our business has created a good living environment for young students to grow. Just now, Daniel mentioned that it is a big social responsibility. I totally agree. Our residents are college and university students. They are young, and they most of them left home first time in their life, and they are gaining independence and finding their food around and getting to know themselves a little bit more, what they can do, what they like, what they don't like. Well, from my own experience at different stages of my life, I've met people who have helped me and inspired me. They did not know what I will become, whether I will grow into a tall tree, a beautiful flower, or just ordinary grass, lalang.
Bamboo.
Right.
They nurture me anyway, and they created an environment for me to grow at my own pace, in my own way. I'm truly grateful for what they've done for me. And now, luckily, Sri, Daniel and me, we have the opportunity, and it's our turn to create an environment for the youngsters to grow in, and in that ideal environment, and we can nurture them.
So you see, Eric, it's wonderful to have a lady in your business team, right?
Yes, at least
ladies are always seeing another aspect of the business, that the care and concern, the kindness, the love, the softer side of business.
It's true.
Well, to be frank, men, they do have the soft side. Maybe they just didn't express out.
And also, it also keeps the business integrity in check. Or rather, the business ethics.
Yeah.
Right?
It does.
So our next question is rather personal.
Yeah.
Oh, another personal question.
Do you guys have any regrets so far?
Okay, this is a very simple question to answer. No, not really. We don't have any regrets. Or I personally don't have any regrets.
Me neither. No regrets.
I would say that the last 5 years have been the absolute best of my career. I mean, in terms of personal growth. And
please be honest. You mean you seriously didn't miss your paycheck?
Definitely not.
Or you didn't miss the big identity behind you?
Well, the thing is, seeing my personal growth over the last few years has been absolutely wonderful. And the freedom you enjoy being who you are and doing the things that you really want to do is an experience that I think if you really have that, no matter where you are also, it's actually wonderful.
I can measure that by the number of movies you see.
That shows how much free time I got.
Right, yeah. Movies are really a luxury, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, holding a day job, you can't actually disappear even for a few hours.
Yeah.
Andrew, I think in terms of the movie count, yours outstrips mine anytime.
Not really.
And not counting repeats at home.
Right, okay.
I only have 1 or 2 favorite actors, the movies that I watch. For example, Stephen Chow or Mr. Bean, what's his name,
Oh, you
just
like
those
funny
few.
ones.
Yeah. I don't watch movies much.
Oh, really? I beg to differ.
Okay.
Right.
Siri?
No, I think no regrets at all. I mean, every step of the way has been educational. It has been
fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't say fun all the way. It has its challenges, but like I said, I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
Yeah. Great.
Agreed.
Sally.
No regret at all. I've grown the most in last 5 years, and I'm very happy to say that I have had 5 years good experience. not just 1 year experience for 5 times.
Fantastic. Wonderful. We are running a little bit out of time, so here comes our last question for our 3 guests today. Give us a few words of advice to people who wish to jump to the other side of the tracks, that is to venture from employment to being your own boss.
Okay, before you think about, leaving the path of an employee and coming over to become an entrepreneur, I think a few things that you should need to do would be, first of all, develop a life purpose, that is to create your why, and also you have to be extremely honest with yourself, that is to acknowledge what you're good at and what are your weaknesses. And also, another thing that you will need to know is the key difference between what is fact and what is opinion. Because this will greatly affect the way you make decisions, especially critical business decisions. Okay?
Being very objective.
Yes, that's right. And I think one of the last things I would say is to have the courage to break through barriers, because trust me, there will be barriers.
Plenty of
They may be from your family, from your job, from your
friends. It will
friends.
never be short in supply.
There will never be a perfect time for you to start. So you just might as well start it. But I would offer one last caveat. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Okay.
Great.
If you're really fine and content where you are, please do not make the jump. Okay.
Don't do anything drastic.
Yes. It's very risky. But if you are like me, a person who realizes that this is not the life for you, and you have the itch, to go forward and make something of yourself, then by all means.
Great. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Yeah. Well, I think my advice would be, for anyone who wants to come to the other side of the tracks, I think, first of all, take your time. Take your time, and like what Daniel said, you have to have an objective, you have to have a purpose, but more so, you should also have a plan as to what exactly you want to do. Desire is important, but it's not the only thing. So, make sure you figure out your own route as to what you want to do, and when you actually exit, make sure you have a plan to follow, because otherwise, it'll just take you astray. My advice is that if someone who's currently in employment and he wants to come out and do something on their own to be an entrepreneur, I think as far as possible, try to be in a position where whatever you're doing now will help you in the future. That means whatever
you can build on.
Exactly, that you can build on
your skill set.
Exactly, that would give you a lot of leverage when you come out on your own. So if you, for example, Eric, you're saying you're from the construction industry. So if you want to come out on your own and start up your own construction industry, it would really be helpful if you work for a construction company beforehand and get that hands-on experience before you come out. So
yes, that's true.
Any relevant skills, any people skills, any business skills that you can acquire them, and it's actually free of charge, because you work for somebody, you get that experience, and you get paid.
And you get paid.
That.
You're paid to learn.
Exactly. That's the best way to learn, if you ask me. And from then on, then take that leap forward and come out, follow the plan, and like Daniel said, have the courage to overcome your hurdles, and you should get there.
Have a plan and follow your plan.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Sri.
Thank you.
We are now very excited to hear what our lady has to say.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew, you're building an expectation.
I'm never disappointed by Sally.
Okay. Now, well, guys, if you wish to jump to the other side, you already have the desire to become an entrepreneur. Well, whether the entrepreneurship is for you, that's your decision to make. So what I'm going to share with you the following 2 points, short points. Hopefully, they will help you in making your own decision. First one is a movie star, Jim Carrey. One of his speech, he said, which I really like. He said, you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love.
Makes sense.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to repeat it because I love it so much. You can fail at doing what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. So don't let fear stop you. Second point is, keep your goals in mind, but don't forget to enjoy the process. The journey itself, it is home, guys. And the experience itself, it is your reward already.
Yes. And we all can see that our 3 guests today are really enjoying their journey.
Yeah, and we're
definitely,
enjoying the chat with you.
Yeah.
All right, folks. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed the show. We will be back with a brand new story for our Durian main story on ASEAN BIZ in the next edition. Thanks again, Daniel, Sri, and Sally. It's been a great pleasure to have you guys on our show, and we certainly hope to see you guys here again soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
And
Bye for now.
Bye.